Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Destiny 2. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations. Today, it's festival time. Let's get to it. So this week has so many things going on. It is the full curse week in the Dreaming City. So if you're looking to do the Shattered Throne or talk to the Queen, this is the week for you. This week also sees the return of the Iron Banner with some modifications to the weekly bounties to make them a little bit easier to obtain, and they all drop powerful gear instead of only 2. In addition to that, you also have the Festival of the Lost. Now, during this time, from now until November 2nd, you have the opportunity to gain 2 engrams for Eververse every time that you level up.
Still can't believe that.
So you get the normal engram, and then you get a new engram that is specific to the festival. And at the end of this video, you can see all the different items that you can get from those festival engrams.
Always good to see you, Guardian.
So what does the festival entail? Now, first of all, at some point later in the festival, perhaps towards the last week and a half of the festival, there's going to be some sort of murder mystery that you can be involved with. There'll be a quest line where you can try to solve the murder, and there'll be some sort of possible reward at the end. Now, what you'll do as soon as you log in, you can go down to the tower to get this festival kicked off by talking to Amanda Holliday. Once you talk to her, you're going to want to go over to Eververse, talk to Tess, and then you'll see that you have a mask. Now, the masks this time around are a little bit different than the previous Festival of the Lost. Now, previous festivals have seen a special mask that you could only get if you're really lucky. So the first mask you would get would always be random, and you had a small chance of getting that rare legendary mask that nobody else or very few people had. And the only other way to get it would be to go to Eververse and get those chances to get the mask. It looks like it's going to work a little bit differently this time around. If there is a rare or legendary mask, they've not shown it off. They haven't said, hey, this is the rarest mask you can get, like a flaming skull or whatever. So once you talk to both Holiday and Eververse, then you can move on to the next step, which is Festival of the Lost Sector. Go through the Lost Sector, and you have the next step. You go back, talk to Holiday, and then you can go to the Haunted Forest. Now, this is where some of the changes to the masks come in, because the masks do not have a power level of anything. So they have power level 0, so then your average is going to come down. Doesn't matter if you're at 200 or 600, when you put that mask on, you're going to drop 80 points, 20 points, whatever. You're going to lose some power level because you're using the mask. So why would you want to use the mask at all? Well, Amanda Holliday will have certain bounties for you once you go through and clear the Haunted Forest one time. So the first time you go through, it'll just be a single run, you clear out the branch, get to 100%. So you do that just by killing enemies. Every time you kill an enemy, that percentage goes up. So each section that you go to within that haunted forest, go ahead and kill all the enemies. Once you get to 100%, you'll be teleported to the arena where the boss is at. Kill the boss, and then you're done. Go back to Holiday, and she'll give you a little something. Plus, you'll also have the opportunity to see what she has to offer for the festival. So there's a variety of masks that you can choose from, as well as bounties, both daily and a weekly bounty, and the new auto rifle, the Horror Story. So the Horror Story is going to take a whole bunch of fragmented souls. You can only get the fragmented souls in the haunted forest and by doing the bounties. So every day you're going to want to pick up those bounties to get some extra fragmented souls. The weekly bounty you'll only be able to get after at least 3 days if you do all the other daily bounties. Additionally, the weekly bounty will give you masterwork cores, and we all know how rare those are. So do make sure to at least do enough bounties that you can get the weekly done by the end of the week. Now, additionally, with the mask, you're going to want to have the mask on in the haunted forest. Once you clear it one time, then you'll be able to power it up. You can put a mod on it, and it is specific to the haunted forest. It's basically a modified version of the minor, major, or boss spec. So if you are looking to do a lot of damage to some of the lower level guys, you can get that minor spec, and they have different names as well. Major spec and boss spec, but it doesn't end there. Once you put one on, then you see you kill 10 nightmares to power it up. And then once you power it up, it's kind of like a catalyst for your armor. Once you power it up, you'll get more or a better chance of heavy ammo dropping, but it's not done there. Once you kill 10 nightmares, then you can upgrade it again, where precision damage or precision kills will start health regen. So this gives you a high incentive to use the mask while you're in the haunted forest, not just because there's a quest line or bounty that says you have to. You want to use it because it actually does something for you. So I think this is a great twist on Bungie's part to get people to actually wear the mask. Now most people are only going to wear the mask inside of the haunted forest. And whether you choose the boss spec, major spec, or minor spec is really up to you, because there's going to be a good amount of all of them. If you get the minor spec bonus, then all the enemies with red health bars will take more damage. And that may not seem like a really big deal, but the more rounds, more branches of the haunted forest that you clear, the more difficult they become. So their power level will continue to increase as you clear more branches. So it will get more difficult to kill those red bar enemies. You get the major spec, all the orange bar enemies will take more damage. So there are not as many orange bar enemies as red bar enemies, but they do pop up as you're trying to clear the branches, and they are more difficult to kill. So getting that one will give you more damage for those guys. So although they are more rare than the red bar, they are more difficult to kill. So that's why there is incentive to have that one. Getting the boss spec one will help you burn down the nightmare, the boss of each branch, more quickly. So there's incentive to get that one. So if you have a pre-made fire team of 3 members, it would actually be a good idea for each member to have a different perk on their mask. So one person have the boss spec, one person have the major spec, one have the minor spec. So then each member of your team is doing more damage to one type of enemy. Now you'll notice as you're going through the Haunted Forest that there is a nightmare within certain sections before you get to the boss. And it is one of the sword-wielding knights, and they cannot be damaged. So look out for them. Sometimes they are attacking other enemies. Usually if you get within range of them, they'll notice that you're there and they'll start coming for you. Now, luckily, they aren't very fast, but they will take you out. Now, as you're going through the Haunted Forest, each round you go through, the first round is just like you did the first go. After that, after you clear that first branch, you will have a random buff or debuff, I should say, that will hinder your advance. And the progression is always the same. So the second round is always going to be the same. Third round is always going to be the same. So it's going to be glass or grounded or blackout or attrition. So the more branches that you do, you'll have a different debuff. So you'll have to be aware of what is going on each round. And you'll have to modify your playstyle on the fly in order to compensate for it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to ring the bell before you leave to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.